Imagine a place where silence is constant, movement is controlled, and human contact is almost non-existent. This is ADX Florence, the most secure prison in the world, located in the remote mountains of Colorado. Designed to house the most dangerous criminals, terrorists, and escape risks, ADX Florence represents the extreme end of the global prison system. A typical 24 hours inside ADX Florence is defined by isolation. Inmates spend up to 23 hours a day alone in their cells. Concrete rooms measuring about 7 by 12 feet. These cells contain only the essentials: a bed, a desk, a toilet, and a small window positioned to prevent any view of the outside world. Even the furniture is molded from concrete to eliminate any possibility of weaponization. Daily routines are rigid and predictable. Meals are delivered through slots in steel doors, eliminating face-to-face interaction. Exercise, when permitted, takes place in solitary outdoor cages often referred to as dog runs, where prisoners can see the sky, but never another inmate. Communication with others is rare, heavily monitored, and strictly controlled. ADX Florence was built with one primary goal: total control. Every hallway, cell, and door is monitored by advanced surveillance systems. The prison has never experienced a successful escape, reinforcing its reputation as inescapable. For authorities, it represents the ultimate solution for managing inmates considered too dangerous for any other facility. However, the documentary also raises serious ethical questions. Prolonged solitary confinement has been linked to severe psychological effects, including anxiety, depression, hallucinations, and emotional breakdowns. Critics argue that while ADX Florence prioritizes security, it does so at the cost of mental health and human dignity. In the end, ADX Florence is more than just a prison. It is a symbol of how far society is willing to go to ensure safety. The documentary challenges us to reflect on whether absolute security justifies extreme isolation, and where the line should be drawn between punishment, protection, and human rights. ADX Florence, officially known as the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility, is widely recognized as the most secure prison in the world due to its unmatched level of control, surveillance, and structural design. Located in a remote area of Florence, Colorado, the prison was intentionally built far from major cities to minimize external threats and escape opportunities. Its isolation is not accidental, but a strategic choice, ensuring that inmates are cut off from the outside world, both physically and psychologically. The facility was opened in 1994 as a response to violent incidents and security failures in other high-security prisons, making it a solution for housing inmates who were considered uncontrollable elsewhere. ADX Florence is designed to hold individuals who pose the highest possible risk to national and institutional security. These include domestic and international terrorists, organized crime leaders, serial killers, and inmates with a long history of violence against prison staff or other prisoners. Many of the inmates transferred to ADX Florence had previously caused riots, orchestrated crimes from inside prison walls, or attempted escapes in other facilities. As a result, ADX Florence operates under a philosophy of prevention rather than reaction, eliminating opportunities for misconduct before they can occur. The prison's security infrastructure is among the most advanced in the world. Reinforced concrete walls, electronically controlled steel doors, motion sensors, pressure plates, and 24-hour camera surveillance are integrated into every part of the facility. Even the layout of the building is designed to prevent inmates from learning patterns or communicating with one another. Guards control nearly every function remotely, reducing direct contact and minimizing risk. This level of security has made ADX Florence a model of containment, where authority is absolute and movement is tightly regulated at all times. One of the defining features that sets ADX Florence apart from all other correctional facilities is its extensive use of solitary confinement. Inmates are confined to their cells for up to 23 hours a day, making isolation the core method of control and security within the prison. This approach is based on the belief that separating inmates from one another prevents violence, gang coordination, escape planning, and any form of organized disruption. Unlike traditional prisons where inmates interact during meals, work, or recreation, ADX Florence eliminates nearly all opportunities for social contact. The cells themselves are specifically designed to support long-term isolation. Measuring approximately 7 by 12 feet, each cell contains a concrete bed, desk, stool, toilet, and sink, all molded into the structure to prevent tampering or weapon creation. The small window is positioned in a way that prevents inmates from seeing other prisoners or even clearly identifying the outside environment, further reinforcing a sense of separation. Meals are delivered through narrow slots in the steel doors, and communication with guards is minimal and strictly professional, reducing any chance of relationship building or manipulation. Over time, this level of confinement profoundly alters an inmate's daily experience. With no work assignments, no group activities, and no physical interaction, time becomes repetitive and monotonous. Many inmates rely on strict personal routines to maintain a sense of order and sanity. Reading, pacing, exercising in confined space, or talking to oneself becomes a way to cope with the long hours of silence. The absence of meaningful human contact transforms isolation from a temporary disciplinary measure into a permanent condition, shaping every aspect of life inside ADX Florence. The cells at ADX Florence are engineered with security as their absolute priority, and their all-concrete construction plays a central role in maintaining total control. Every element inside the cell, including the bed, desk, stool, and shelving, is formed from reinforced concrete, permanently fixed into the structure. This design eliminates the presence of loose materials that could be dismantled, sharpened, or repurposed into weapons. Unlike standard prisons where metal or plastic furnishings may be modified, ADX Florence removes even the smallest opportunity for inmates to manipulate their surroundings. The walls, floors, and ceilings are constructed from thick, reinforced concrete designed to withstand extreme force and prevent any attempt at digging, breaking, or tunneling. Doors are made of solid steel with narrow slots for food delivery and handcuffing procedures, ensuring inmates never need to leave their cells for basic needs. Sound dampening features are also built into the structure, preventing inmates from communicating with one another through walls, a tactic commonly used in other prisons. Even the plumbing system is designed to reduce noise transmission and prevent flooding or sabotage. Every detail of the cell reflects the philosophy of total containment. The window, often described as a light port, allows natural light to enter but is positioned so inmates cannot determine their location, time of day, or season. This disorientation reduces the ability to plan escapes or coordinate with others. The concrete environment also limits self-harm and property destruction, reinforcing control through physical design rather than constant physical force. The cell itself becomes a security mechanism, shaping inmate behavior through structure and restriction rather than direct confrontation. Life inside ADX Florence follows a rigid and unchanging schedule, where every aspect of an inmate's day is predetermined and monitored. Strict routine is used as a tool of control, ensuring predictability for prison staff while limiting autonomy for inmates. From the moment an inmate wakes up to the time lights dim, activities are governed by institutional rules that leave little room for personal choice. This structured system minimizes uncertainty and reduces opportunities for conflict, resistance, or manipulation. Meals are a clear example of this control. Food is delivered at scheduled times through narrow slots in steel doors, eliminating direct contact between inmates and staff. The meals themselves are standardized, and refusal or misuse of food can result in disciplinary consequences. Inmates eat alone in their cells, reinforcing isolation and preventing any form of communal experience. Even basic privileges such as showers, reading materials, or limited communication are earned and can be revoked based on behavior. Exercise is also tightly regulated. When permitted, inmates are escorted individually to small outdoor recreation enclosures, often surrounded by high concrete walls and fencing. These sessions are scheduled, supervised, and conducted in complete isolation, preventing interaction with other prisoners. Movement within the facility is rare and always controlled through restraints and multiple security checkpoints. By enforcing such strict routines, ADX Florence maintains order through consistency, ensuring that every day mirrors the last and reinforcing the institution's authority over time, movement, and behavior. ADX Florence relies on one of the most advanced and layered security systems ever implemented in a correctional facility, making it virtually impossible for inmates to escape. Surveillance is constant and uninterrupted, with high-resolution cameras monitoring hallways, cell fronts, recreation areas, and all movement points 24 hours a day. These cameras are integrated into a centralized control system, allowing staff to observe inmates without direct interaction. Every action, no matter how small, is recorded and analyzed to detect unusual behavior before it becomes a security threat. Beyond visual surveillance, the prison is equipped with sophisticated electronic detection systems. Motion sensors, pressure plates, and alarm trigger doors are embedded throughout the facility to detect unauthorized movement. Cell doors and internal gates are electronically controlled and can be locked or unlocked remotely, reducing the need for physical presence by staff. This system ensures that no single individual has full control over movement, adding multiple layers of accountability and safety. The prison's physical layout further strengthens its security. Long corridors are designed to limit visibility and prevent inmates from understanding the facility structure. Multiple reinforced barriers separate housing units from the outer perimeter, which is protected by fences, razor wire, and armed patrols. Inmates are moved using strict protocols that include restraints and time procedures, ensuring that even routine transfers are treated as high-risk operations. Together, these advanced surveillance and security measures create an environment where escape is not just difficult, but systematically prevented through technology, design, and constant monitoring. One of the strongest indicators of ADX Florence's extreme level of security is the fact that it has never experienced a successful escape since opening. This record is not a coincidence, but the result of deliberate planning, strict operational procedures, and a design philosophy centered on total containment. Every system within the facility works together to eliminate even the smallest possibility of an inmate leaving the prison without authorization. Unlike other high-security prisons that have faced escape attempts or temporary breaches, ADX Florence has maintained complete control over its population at all times. This flawless escape record is especially significant given the type of inmates housed there. Many prisoners at ADX Florence are known for intelligence, resourcefulness, and past escape attempts in other facilities. Some have exploited weaknesses in prison systems before, using manipulation, violence, or coordination with others to break security protocols. The fact that such individuals remain fully contained demonstrates how ADX Florence's environment leaves no room for improvisation, planning, or collaboration. Multiple layers of security contribute to this outcome. Inmates are housed in near total isolation, preventing the formation of escape networks or shared plans. Movement is rare, heavily restrained, and monitored by multiple officers and surveillance systems. The remote location of the prison further reduces any chance of outside assistance or concealment. Even in the event of a theoretical breach, inmates would face vast open terrain, constant monitoring, and rapid response forces. The absence of any successful escape reinforces ADX Florence's reputation as an inescapable institution, where control is maintained through precision, consistency, and absolute authority. While ADX Florence is often praised for its unmatched security, the documentary draws attention to the serious ethical concerns surrounding the psychological effects of long-term isolation. Prolonged solitary confinement, especially over months or years, has been linked by psychologists and human rights organizations to severe mental health consequences. Inmates living in near total isolation experience minimal sensory stimulation and almost no meaningful human interaction, conditions that can deeply affect cognitive and emotional functioning. The documentary highlights how this environment can distort an individual's perception of time, reality, and self-identity. Many inmates housed at ADX Florence develop symptoms such as anxiety, depression, paranoia, and hallucinations. Without regular social interaction, the human brain struggles to maintain emotional balance, leading some prisoners to talk to themselves, pace for hours, or develop obsessive routines as coping mechanisms. The lack of physical touch, eye contact, and conversation gradually erodes social skills, making reintegration into any form of normal interaction increasingly difficult. Mental health professionals featured in the documentary argue that isolation becomes not just a security measure, but a psychological punishment with lasting effects. The documentary also questions the moral responsibility of a system that prioritizes security over rehabilitation. Critics argue that while some inmates may require strict control, indefinite isolation can cross the line into inhumane treatment. Legal challenges and international human rights standards are referenced, suggesting that extended solitary confinement may violate basic principles of human dignity. By focusing on these ethical concerns, the documentary shifts the discussion from how secure ADX Florence is to what cost that security carries for the human mind. In conclusion, 24 hours inside the world's most secure prison, Inside ADX Florence presents a powerful and unsettling look at a facility built on absolute control and uncompromising security. Through its extreme isolation, advanced surveillance, and rigid routines, ADX Florence succeeds in containing individuals deemed too dangerous for any other prison. However, beyond its reputation as inescapable, the documentary forces viewers to confront deeper questions about justice, humanity, and the long-term consequences of such confinement. It challenges us to consider whether maximum security should exist without equally strong consideration for mental health and human dignity, leaving a lasting reflection on how society defines punishment, protection, and responsibility.